For over 3 years, a large Danish-led group of scientists from 14 European universities has researched, dissected and discussed such issues as what will the agriculture of the future be like and what will Europeans be eating in 10 years' time. In this series of documentaries, we have followed in the footsteps of the researchers and focused on the upheavals that will change rural life forever. How wonderful it must be to live here. That's what all the tourists say. You should try it, I tell them. You should just try it. Depopulation, unemployment, poverty, words associated with the thinly populated rural areas of Europe. Once, agriculture was the driving force, but now there's just a vacuum. Those who remain are crying out for new development, initiatives and activity. Meanwhile, the town dwellers who move to the country just want peace and quiet to enjoy the views. Even the scientists are in doubt. Shall we save the villages? We begin our journey on Crete in Greece. This is Chania, one of the island's city-states. Tourism and trade are flourishing, from artworks to handicrafts, from Gucci to kitsch. A mere 15 minutes drive away lies Vatolikos. Like many other rural villages in Europe, Vatolikos seems a little run down, but nevertheless boasts 4 cafes.
Well, I had to say what's the future going to be. I had to say. Because, well, here we try always to have a good life. The place is good.
On the other side of the square, the school head calls the pupils to morning assembly. Not all the school's 34 pupils are present, and the young people don't see much of a crowd in the school playground.
This year, in the first grade, we have 4 kids. Next year, we will have 3 kids. I think that in 10 years, I don't think the school will exist in 10 years.
Vatolikos farmers grow grapes, oranges, avocados and olives in the fertile valleys. But agriculture is suffering, and that means the erosion of the basis of existence it has provided in rural districts for generations.
We gather together and we have fun. It's the traditional way of having fun with this in whole Crete.
This evening, there's a celebration for Pavlos and Helene in Vatolikos. The grapes have been harvested from their small vineyard and pressed to make wine. Now comes Pavlos' favorite day, the day when the crushed grapes are distilled to make spirits. Pavlos carries out the whole process himself in the old distillery in the back garden.
And raki is 5 euros, the bottle.
Wine and raki are made in the same way all over Greece, by smallholders, each producing on a small scale. The difficulty is to derive any income from the work, to find buyers for the products.
22. My friend there, Kostas, they own the cafeteria. So the customers there, they drink sukuria.
The wine is produced following the methods of their grandparents and using their grandparents' barrels.
This was when his sister was born.
Helene and Pavlos work the farm together, but it's Helene who takes care of the finances. And even though there's a celebration tonight, in the back of her mind, she knows very well they won't earn enough money to live like this in the future. Spain. Large areas of the Iberian Peninsula are threatened by drought and desertification. In the region of Murcia, where the wine-producing town of Yecla lies, the population has fallen from round about 350,000 in 1950 to something just over 5,000 today. Both agriculture and people are close to disappearing altogether in these areas. According to the Spanish National Institute for Statistics, there are nearly 3,000 abandoned country villages in Spain. To these can be added a 5-figure number of small towns that are on the point of extinction. We're all right, says this farmer in the neighboring village.
Entre todos, con nosotros con unos 50 bien, y ellos ganan unos 50 bien.
But he's close to tears as he tells us how little he can get for his olives. His olive production has no future.
Pero nada.
The AG2020 scientists know of the problem. Shall we intervene with national or EU subsidies, or just leave these villages to die?
This is nothing new in Europe. No. This is a continuous process that started 400-500 years ago already.
And is it a bad thing?
I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just a fact.
But I think we need to look at a future where things are much more professionalized also in these villages.
I think you can slow it down, but don't think you can stop it.
The other point is, if you would like to give a perspective and if you would like to derive policies for these rural areas, you cannot have the same policy, you cannot have the same measure for northern Sweden or southern Sicily. It requires local adjustment. It requires adjustment at local level. This kind of policy, you can set up the framework in Brussels, but to implement it, to design this policy, requires also local skills.
In Bulgaria, the Rhodope Mountains are famous as an area of outstanding beauty. In the mountain village of Jagodina, it seems as if time has stood still. Sofia Bojidarova opens up the village's milk collection point where the smallholders deliver their milk. The first of the farmers comes with his milk. The average size of a Bulgarian dairy herd is less than 2 cows.
Събирала съм на ден по 800-900 литра мляко. Почти тон. На ден говоря. Докато сега вече максимум, до който съм достигала в най-силния сезон, е 200 литра.
Cows are disappearing from Jagodina, and with them, the people. Paradoxically, it's the EU's requirements for milk cooling which hurts. To invest in milk cooling for 2 cows makes no sense whatever.
Така че абсолютно съм на път да се откажа. Просто единственото нещо, което ме кара, нали, все още е това, че съм работила доста години с тия хора и ми е малко неудобно така в един момент да кажа, вижте какво, няма да работя повече.
According to the AG2020 researchers, up to 90% of the population will leave the mountains of Bulgaria over the next 10 years. Retired kindergarten head teacher Sofka Klikova has delivered her milk.
100 лева ти дават пенсия. 100 лева можеш ли да караш цял месец? Това е невъзможно.
An iPod or a car cost the same in Bulgaria as anywhere else in Europe. Sofia has earned 50 cents for 2 hours' work.
Решила съм да ходя в чужбина сега след Нова година, да видя как живеят хората. И може би ще го направим с мъжа ми в Холандия за 3 месеца. Бране на гъби.
Sofia's village is dying. She will leave like all the others, but she can't understand why this is happening.
Жалко е, защото хората, които идват тук, по принцип, поне през мен тези, които са минали туристи, всеки казва, това е страхотна красота, райско кътче, чист въздух, тишина, спокойствие, вие живеете в рая. И живеем в рая, ма елайте да видите как се живее. Тук аз на всички им го казвам.
Also at the school in Vatolikos on Crete, signs of migration are visible. Had the area not been able to attract foreign work labour from Bulgaria and the Ukraine, the situation would have been far worse. The parents of 14 of the 34 pupils are immigrants from Eastern Europe.
I think it's something that you think you are alive, the village is alive when there are children in the school. So when the school is closed, most of the people think that then the village dies.
Helene and her husband Pavlos are concerned about the school, but Helene's concern about their own future is even greater.
My husband is the only work he knows to do, how to, to make wine, take care of his trees and the land, and he doesn't know how to do anything else.
Helene and Pavlos are stuck in an outdated way of production. But 200 meters further up the street, Nostos Wines is located, the only 100% organic winery in Greece. The wine made here sells for up to €100 and more per bottle. So maybe Vatolokos can look here in its distress.
I think that we're going to see quite a lot of these villages simply dying, because if there are not some people, skilled people or innovative people there that can sort of drive some sort of development, they are going to die.
But you see these people that come back and they come to the family farm and they start growing wine. It's a good idea. There's a market for it. But they have a hell of a time because, the local people, they don't see the light because it's the people who've been there always.
Nostos Wines is run by the winemaker Kostis Galanis and Alexandra Manousakis. This small winery is experiencing rapid expansion. Their focus is placed on producing quality organic wine and on professional marketing. The wine is already exported to the USA and Germany.
We are trying to approach the world market in a professional way, basically to try and show what this area can produce, the best that it can produce.
Alexandra Manousakis works hard on the way he presents his wine, both to importers and customers in the shops on Crete.
The problem with marketing a lot of times is that information is not available to people. You really need to feed people, tell them that you've been mentioned, tell them that you've been awarded.
Even in Hania's most exclusive wine shop, the original wine store, the local Nostos wine ranks high, says Maria, the shop's owner.
The blend, the Syrah, that very rich wines. And the people love that.
Crete has no tradition for the production of high-quality wines. The winery's high level of ambition places a heavy responsibility on the shoulders of the winemaker Kostis Galanis.
Still very young. We are working always in the field. We are working for the canopy. We are working for without chemical fertilizers. We are certified by the European rules and also by the US.
Nostos Wines has great plans for expansion, plans that also meet with approval in the local cafes.
Yeah, we like things like that to be out here, It is something good for us.
Guests are expected in a small farmhouse in the south of the island of Sjælland. The Danish National Association for People Affected by Slurry Spreading is holding a rather special meeting.
Det vi så lige skulle have frem i dag, der var meget vigtigt, og det var fremlægning af vores nye logo. Det ser så sådan ud der.
The association was founded by a small group of people from all over Denmark who all feel affected by the growth of agriculture.
Vi vil gerne opnå, at de mennesker, der bor på landet, at de kan få nogle rettigheder til at kunne opholde sig i eget hjem. Der har vi så dunsten, der faktisk lige kommer op her. Det er det, der markerer sig med. Alle kender den der lugt på landet. Det kender vi alle sammen. Men den her, det er fabrik. Det er så industriagtigt, så landbrug ikke selv kan kontrollere det. For det er ens livskvalitet, der bliver forringet, og bare på grund af de fandens gris.
Og de tjener ingen penge. De tjener negative penge, der de gjort de sidste 10 år. Ja. Og hvornår vender det? Det vender aldrig. Så hvad er det for noget, man skal sørge for, at de holder i gang? Hvorfor skal det holdes i gang?
Vi er nødt til at stå sammen for at råbe politikerne op på Christiansborg.
Through their persistence, the Danish Anti-Slurry Association has succeeded in winning the right to be represented at public hearings on environmental legislation.
Vi har også fået et brev fra Miljøministeren. Jeres indspil er indgået i regeringens overvejelser til forhandlinger. Hvorfor er der ikke nogen, der gør noget? Det siger man hver gang. Og jeg siger, at jeg gør noget, og så vil jeg så prøve så meget som muligt, og hjælpe så mange mennesker som muligt. Det synes jeg, det kræver det. Jeg bruger alt for meget tid, det kan jeg sige, fordi det går ud over familie og det hele.
The work takes up a lot of time and effort for the main protagonists, but this is more than compensated for by the benefits of getting to know like-minded people through the association.
Så må vi sige skål, og så tillykke med vores nye logo. Ja, skål, og held og lykke med foreningen. Det giver et utroligt godt sammenhold, fordi man kæmper for det samme.
Og det er kylling med vilde svampe. Og vi skal ikke have gris i dag.
Nej, det skal vi ikke.
It's cold in the south of Fyn in Denmark, where Henrik Terkelsen is a farmer.
Man vil da helst, at folk de hilser. De siger hej, hvordan har du det? Og når man så ikke længere gør det, det er da ikke behageligt som menneske at opleve det.
At present, he has 500 dairy cows on 2 properties, but would very much like to combine the herds and expand to 750 cows on the farm, where he lives together with his wife and 3 children.
Det her der er vores hjem, og det her det, vi gerne vil have mange køer. Det her vi kan få mange køer. De overvejelser, hvor vi troede, vi ville løbe i problemer, det var angående lovgivning, administration, samarbejde med det offentlige. Men ikke et eneste sekund drømte om, at det vil være nabokonflikter, vi vil havne i. Det her den er født i går morges.
But 57 people in the neighborhood have signed a protest against the expansion. They're afraid of increased road traffic, degradation of the landscape, pungent smells, and so on. According to Henrik Terkelsen, an expansion of his herd would be good for local society because it will create more work.
De flere ansatte, vi får, de genererer jo indtjening til kommunekasser og lægger penge i, hvor de handler og ting og sager. Derudover så er der jo servicemedarbejdere, som kommer her, elektrikere og håndværkere og andre, som skaber en omsætning ud af min omsætning. Det var dengang, vi fik Landbrugs arbejdsmiljøpris.
The Working Environment Prize brought praise in the local press, but the tone has changed since details of the project were published.
Tåbelig beslutning om en kvægfabrik. Naboer vil stoppe kvægfarm. Det er nok af det. Men de går ikke efter bolden, de går efter manden jo ikke. Fortsat kamp mod kofabrik. Det er meget negativt ladet. Kofabrik, det er stort og det er grimt og en masse fordomme, en masse billeder. Men uden for mig at se, at de reelt set har sat sig ind i, hvad det egentlig er for et projekt, vi gør. Jeg bliver da ked af det. Det er ingen hemmelighed. Så kan man da godt føle, om det er det rigtige sted, man er blevet placeret her på jorden. Ikke også? Altså, på det tidspunkt, da det rigtig brød løs, det var jo stort set samtidig med finanskrisen, og der var vi da godt klar over, at vi ikke kunne smide det hele og rejse på mig til. Fordi så havde vi da nok gjort det. Skal vi tage et stykke brød? Jamen altså tidligere, der snakker man sammen stille og roligt herude, jo godt. Og nu der har de jo så ligesom, hvad skal man sige, fået et fælles projekt. Og det er så blevet mig. Jamen, det giver sammenhold jo for de andre. Altså, og så kan de få så en hyggelig stund ud af det.
Henrik Terkelsen has long ago received the necessary approvals and permits for his scheme from the public authorities.
Jamen, det er en stor sag. Set i dag, men går du bare 3 år frem, så er det en almindelig sag. Jeg er jo ikke den eneste, der ønsker at drive et moderne landbrug. Og for at du kan gøre det, jamen det kræver store enheder, for at du kan holde omsætningen op. Så der vil komme rigtig mange af den her type sager. Det er helt sikkert.
In the Netherlands, multi-story pig farming in large harbour buildings is to be tested, where fodder from Brazil will be sailed right to the door, tells the AG2020 panel. But this is an exception. Farming is naturally to be found in the countryside.
Maybe he should be allowed to expand or whatever, but I think before doing so, it would be very good if this farmer had a serious talk to the local community.
So he shouldn't ask the authorities for allowance to do this. He should start a dialogue with the local people. How can we coexist? Do you think it's okay so they get ownership to his farm?
Shall the society be able to affect this decision of an independent entrepreneur? So this is an independent decision. If he sticks to the rule, if he has the permission, if he sticks to all regulations, he should be able to build this new stable.
With EU support, Nostos Wines in Vatolakos will be investing nearly €5 million to streamline production and develop new lines.
You will be at the top.
You'll be in the lab.
In the basement.
I think hopefully it could provide jobs. And usually I think it kind of acts as almost like a domino effect. One thing, you just need to get the ball rolling in order to see the effects that can trickle throughout the community. So that's what we hope, that it will be a positive thing for everyone.
Pavlos and Helene recognize that wine made in barrels dating from their grandparents' time does not suit modern people's tastes.
It's not accepted as a wine. They do not like it. It's undrinkable.
Nor on Chania's market.
He has the barrels, and it was from his grandfather. He doesn't like to throw them away. That's why every year he fills them with wine.
Many of Crete's farmers stick to outdated production methods.
Even my father used to make a wine that I think that he was the only one who could drink it. But he thought that that was the best wine.
Kostis has offered his help to many of the other wine farmers, but his offers are usually received with skepticism.
Traditionally, mentality here is to keep what you do well to yourself and not to band with other people and network with other people.
With the decline of agriculture, the basis of existence is disappearing from rural villages all over Europe. But there are other places in the world where the story is completely different, and Europeans need to learn as much as possible from these places. We're in the town of Luis Eduardo on the Brazilian plateau, 1,400 kilometers from Rio de Janeiro.
The first time I tested here, I was on a motorcycle. It was in 1999, and there was nothing here, only this gas station, nothing else.
When Julio Tromeskin came here on his motorbike for the first time in 1999, just 5 people lived here.
And today, 10 years after, you can see how it grew up.
Today, the population is 10,000 times that, 50,000 people. According to the AG2020 team of researchers, one reason for this is a far-sighted agricultural policy developed by politicians, scientists and farmers working together in harmony.
So our productivity grew more than 220%. So I think technology, sustainable actions, good use of natural research, the use of technology will help Brazil to keep expanding.
While the world economy was on its knees in 2009, the gross national product of Brazil increased by 9%. With agriculture as the driving force of the economy. One of those who's found out how to benefit from this positive attitude to agriculture is Simon Wallace, a New Zealander.
You can see here we're combining irrigation, water use, with an ecological program. That might be surprising, particularly to people in Europe.
8 years ago, Simon Wallace set out to discover whether it was possible to run a viable milk-producing operation with a high level of animal welfare and in harmony with nature and local society.
So the cows are smaller animals. You'll notice they're not huge animals. They're small, efficient animals. The cows are the tractor, so it's much more efficient. They are the ones that go to the field and harvest the grass, rather than a tractor going to the field and harvesting the grass.
The result is a level of milk production which Simon believes is already the highest in the world.
We're used to producing approximately 15,000 litres of milk per hectare per year. Here in this system, we're producing 40,000 litres of milk, so almost 3 times.
And Brazil is almost as large as the whole of Europe. Simon Wallace and his 3,000 dairy cows provide an example of the opportunities which are leading to a boom period in the rural districts of Brazil.
So you can see here a typical model of irrigated pasture of high productivity with the infrastructure here in the middle, and on the outside, houses for people who work on the farm to live on the farm. So it's about marrying a commercial agenda with an ecological approach in a meaningful way, and also to develop a community.
30% of the population are employed in agriculture. The problem will be to find good workers, which is why Simon puts so much effort into supporting his employees.
This is where the team come and have lunch down the end here, but on this end of the structure is the school. We're a team of 40 people here, and there's only 2 New Zealanders. And all our meetings are in Portuguese.
He's built homes and even a school, used in the evenings for professional education for adults and in the daytime for children.
So, legítimo, engarrafado na fazenda, which means bottled in the farm. So 100% traceability, so a control of the whole chain, from the inputs at the farm level to the bottle in the supermarket. So we know where every litre of milk comes from. In my view, this is the future model for production of milk, combining the technology for extracting milk, the pastoral system, represented by these happy cows eating grass.
This is how a petrol station in the middle of nowhere can develop into a town of 50,000 inhabitants in just 10 years.